The Middle East is no stranger to conflict, with its history marked by decades of tension, wars, and fragile ceasefires. Yet each new escalation brings fresh uncertainty and global concern. But recent attacks on Israel have pushed the region toward a broader war, raising fears that the violence could spill far beyond its current borders. Strikes from Yemen's Houthis show the Gaza conflict is no longer contained, threatening to draw in new players and destabilize the region. The involvement of groups from outside Gaza signals a dangerous new phase. These attacks disrupt daily life, shut down airports, and challenge even Israel's advanced defenses. The sense of normalcy is shattered as travel grinds to a halt and uncertainty grows. The Houthis, supporting Palestinians, have brought the war to Israel's doorstep, while Israel fights on multiple fronts. This multi-front pressure stretches resources and heightens the risk of miscalculation. When Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion airport halts flights, the world notices. The conflict's reach is expanding in unpredictable ways. International travel and commerce are directly affected, showing how interconnected the crisis has become. Non-state groups like the Houthis now wield long-range weapons, changing the nature of regional security. Their ability to strike from afar means no area is truly safe, and the threat landscape is evolving rapidly. Israel's air defenses are being tested as never before, revealing a constant race between offense and defense. Each new attack forces innovation and adaptation on both sides. The stakes are high for the entire region, and for global powers invested in Middle East stability. International leaders are watching closely, aware that any escalation could have worldwide repercussions. The human cost is immense. Civilians in both Israel and Gaza are caught in the crossfire. Homes are destroyed, families are displaced, and the trauma of war leaves lasting scars. People in Tel Aviv run for shelter. The sound of sirens is a constant reminder of the danger overhead, disrupting daily routines and instilling fear. Families in Gaza search for safety amid destruction, facing shortages of food, water, and medical care as the crisis deepens. The Houthi attacks are directly linked to the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, with both sides suffering. Aid workers struggle to reach those in need, and the situation grows more desperate by the day. This story is about more than missiles. It's about the risk of a larger war and the urgent need for peace. Every new attack increases the pressure for diplomatic solutions. Understanding these events is crucial to grasping how quickly a local conflict can spiral out of control. The lessons learned here could shape the future of international relations and security. The evolving military landscape makes the search for peace more complicated and urgent than ever. Negotiators face immense challenges as they try to bridge deep divides and prevent further escalation. This essay will break down these interconnected events to provide a clear account of a conflict growing in complexity and consequence, helping you understand why what happens here matters to us all. It began as an ordinary day in Tel Aviv, with the city bustling as usual and people going about their daily routines. Suddenly, the calm was shattered by the piercing sound of air raid sirens echoing through the streets. A missile, launched from Yemen by the Houthis, was on a direct course for the heart of Israel, targeting Tel Aviv. The Houthis quickly claimed responsibility, boasting that they had fired a hypersonic ballistic missile at what they called sensitive Israeli targets, aiming to send a powerful message. This attack marked a significant escalation in the conflict, demonstrating the Houthis' growing capability to strike deep inside Israel from more than 1,000 miles away, and raising alarm across the region. Tel Aviv, Israel's economic and cultural center, was deliberately chosen for its symbolic value, ensuring the attack would have maximum psychological and strategic impact. Fortunately, Israel's advanced Arrow air defense system intercepted the missile in time, preventing what could have been a devastating disaster for the city and its residents. Still, the attack sent shockwaves throughout the country, leaving many Israelis anxious and highlighting the growing threat posed by distant adversaries. In addition to the missile, the Houthis also launched a wave of drones at southern Israel, signaling a new, coordinated strategy to overwhelm Israeli defenses. The Houthis said their attack was in direct retaliation for an Israeli airstrike that had struck Yemen's capital Sana'a just days before, escalating tensions even further. This tit-for-tat violence is fueling a dangerous and unpredictable cycle of escalation, with each side responding forcefully to the other. Every strike now triggers a swift counterstrike, pushing both sides further down a path of open conflict and making de-escalation increasingly difficult. What began as a war centered on Gaza has now spilled over, with battles being fought across the skies of the entire Middle East, drawing in new actors and widening the conflict. Both sides are determined to demonstrate their strength and resolve, raising the stakes not just for themselves, but for the entire region and its people. The rapid expansion of this conflict serves as a stark warning of how quickly local wars can spiral into regional crises, threatening millions and destabilizing the broader Middle East. The missile threat from Yemen had an immediate and dramatic impact. News of the danger spread rapidly, creating a sense of urgency and anxiety across the country. Ben Gurion Airport, Israel's main international gateway and a vital hub for both business and tourism, was shut down within minutes of the alert. All flights were suspended to protect passengers, staff, and critical infrastructure, highlighting just how serious and credible the threat was considered by authorities. The sudden closure disrupted travel plans, stranded thousands of people from around the world, and sent ripples through global airline schedules, affecting not just Israel, but international connections as well. For Israel, even a temporary airport shutdown brings major economic and logistical consequences, impacting trade, tourism, and daily life. The Houthis have targeted Israeli airports before, aiming to create economic pressure, disrupt normalcy, and inflict psychological distress on the population. By striking transportation hubs, they extend the conflict's impact into daily civilian life, making ordinary routines feel uncertain and unsafe. After the missile was intercepted, the airport slowly resumed operations, but the disruption left a lasting impression on travelers and staff alike, reminding everyone of the ever-present risks. The incident underscored the vulnerability of critical infrastructure in times of war and the constant need for heightened security and vigilance. The silence at Israel's busiest airport symbolized how the conflict can isolate the nation in an instant, cutting it off from the outside world. The threat of long-range attacks makes the security situation unpredictable for all Israelis, adding a layer of tension to everyday life. The airport shutdown is a stark reminder of how distant conflicts can disrupt normal life at home, forcing people to adapt to a new reality shaped by uncertainty and fear. Before the Tel Aviv missile attack, the Houthis struck Ramon International Airport in southern Israel with a drone. The drone evaded Israel's defenses, hitting the airport and forcing a 2-hour shutdown. The attack caused injuries and widespread panic, exposing vulnerabilities in Israel's air defense. Ramon's location near Jordan and Egypt makes it strategically vital. The Houthis claimed responsibility, vowing to escalate attacks on Israeli airports in solidarity with Gaza. The incident raised serious questions about Israel's ability to defend against smaller, low-flying drones. Even with advanced systems, gaps remain, forcing Israel to adapt its strategies. The successful strike was a wake-up call about the evolving capabilities of Israel's adversaries. Israel's air defense network, Iron Dome David's Sling and Arrow, has proven effective against many threats. The Arrow system intercepted the hypersonic missile over Tel Aviv, preventing catastrophe. But the Ramon Airport drone attack exposed gaps, especially against small, low-flying threats. Swarms of drones can overwhelm even the best defenses. In response, Israel has launched airstrikes on Houthi targets in Yemen, aiming to deter future attacks and degrade enemy capabilities. This offensive approach escalates the conflict, risking more aggressive retaliation. The cycle of attack and counterattack fuels instability across the region. High-profile strikes, like the reported killing of the Houthi prime minister, intensify the conflict. Each escalation makes a peaceful resolution more difficult to achieve. The attacks from Yemen are directly linked to the ongoing war in Gaza, where a humanitarian catastrophe is unfolding. Months of fighting have left over 66,000 dead and much of Gaza in ruins. Civilians face constant danger, with nowhere truly safe to go. Israel's military campaign has intensified, targeting areas it claims are used by militants, but civilians are often caught in the crossfire. The UN questions the effectiveness of evacuation warnings, citing the extreme risks for those trying to flee. Essential supplies, water, food, medicine, are scarce, and hospitals are overwhelmed. Even Israel's Supreme Court has intervened over the treatment of Palestinian detainees. Despite international pressure and calls for a ceasefire, the conflict rages on. Protests and humanitarian appeals have yet to halt the violence. Gaza's civilians remain trapped in a relentless cycle of suffering. The Houthis openly state their attacks on Israel are in support of Palestinians. Their spokesperson, Yahya Sari, frames the strikes as a moral and religious duty to stand with Gaza. By targeting Israeli airports and infrastructure, the Houthis aim to pressure Israel and its allies to end the war. Their threats are clear: as long as the Gaza conflict continues, so will their attacks. The Houthis use a mix of missiles and drones to challenge Israel's military might. Their campaign is both a show of solidarity and a bid for regional influence. By attacking Israel, they position themselves as defenders of the Palestinian cause and key players in the anti-Israel axis. Each strike is a political message and a challenge to the regional order. The Houthi attacks prove the Gaza war has become a regional conflict. What began as Israel versus Hamas now involves the Houthis in Yemen and Hezbollah in Lebanon, creating multiple fronts of instability. The Houthis' attacks on Red Sea shipping have disrupted global trade, forcing ships to reroute and raising costs worldwide. The US and allies have responded with military operations to protect shipping and strike Houthi targets. Diplomatic efforts for peace have so far failed, while Israel's government remains defiant. Daily clashes with Hezbollah and ongoing Houthi attacks keep the region on edge. The risk of a wider war is ever present, with state and non-state actors operating in close proximity. Civilians across the region bear the brunt of this expanding conflict. The attacks on Israel and the Gaza war have alarmed world leaders who fear a wider regional conflict. Diplomatic efforts struggle to keep pace with military escalation and humanitarian disaster. The US, Israel's main ally, faces tension over how to support Israel while preventing a broader war and addressing Gaza's crisis. Other world powers call for restraint and a ceasefire, but the violence continues. The proliferation of long-range drones and missiles means distance is no longer a guarantee of safety. These attacks highlight the vulnerabilities of modern nations and the difficulty of resolving deep-rooted conflicts. In a globalized world, local wars rarely stay local for long. The urgent need for sustainable peace has never been clearer for Israel, Palestine, and the entire region.